Hello, Dr. Marcel. My name is Minh. Today I would like to present to you my innovation project. And the title of the project is Peer Feedback in EFL Writing Class at Vo Truong Toan Secondary School, the effects and students' attitudes. In this presentation, I will talk about the rationale, the research questions, the plan, literature review, and the advantages of my research. I also spend a little time to talk about the cultural factors and some ethical issues that I need to take into consideration. Now let's move to the first part, the rationale of the research. First of all, from my teaching experience, after a period of 4 years teaching in a public school, I find that my students have difficulties when they learn writing. My students tend to think in Vietnamese and then translate their thoughts into English without considering grammar or meaning. More importantly, they tend to repeat their mistakes. Even I have corrected those mistakes many times. And secondly, from my learning experience, over 1 year ago, I had a chance to practice using peer feedback. And when I was a postgraduate student in a university in Ho Chi Minh City, and after the course, I saw that I saw the improvement in my own writing. Therefore, I strongly believe that peer feedback does help students improve their writing. That has led me to read a lot of research conducted in this topic, and I found that a lot of researchers agree that peer feedback not only helps students enhance their writing, but also supports teachers' feedback and reduce teachers' workload. However, the results from the studies investigating in this topic still varied in different contexts. Okay, some show positive results, however, some others didn't share similar findings. For example, the study of Chen, Huang, His, and Lin in 2010, or the study of Yang, Badger, and Yu in 2006. Lastly, not many studies pay attention to students' attitudes towards peer feedback. Most of them focus on the effects only, and very few research was conducted in public schools like mine. Therefore, I decided to conduct this study to see whether peer feedback works in my context or not. And my research questions are: the first one, does written peer feedback enhance students' writing in Vo Truong Toan Secondary School? And the second one is, how do my students perceive peer feedback in writing class? In order to answer these two questions, I plan to apply mixed method design, and the project will take place in 1 semester with the participation of 76 students in 2 classes. They are gifted students in grade 8 in Vo Truong Toan Secondary School. And the textbook I would use is the Solution Grade 8. Okay, in 1 semester, they will study 3 units. And the writing section in each unit will be taught in 3 lessons. In the first lesson, I will spend time providing my students input and ask them to write their first drafts. And the second lesson will be the time for them to read and give comments on their peers' writing. After that, they have to rewrite their final composition. In the last lesson, they will show their writing and I will provide my feedback. And also further practice may take place. So the instruments I will use to collect the data for my projects are the observation, the questionnaire, and the semi-structured interview. Okay, talking about the data collection and the data analysis. The observation will take place during the peer feedback practice. I mean, while my students are practicing giving writing and giving peer feedback, I will go around and observe their attitudes and also pay special attention to the first draft and the final draft to see the differences between 2 drafts in terms of grammar, content, punctuation, spelling, and so on. Okay, I will observe and use reflective, descriptive and reflective notes in order to record what happened during my lesson and then reflect. And the survey will take place at the end of the course. Okay, I will prepare a questionnaire and directly deliver them to my students. Okay, the data collected from the survey will be analyzed using SPSS software. And the interview will take place after the survey in order to have deeper understanding about the answers given in the in the survey. And the interview will take place in private places like classroom, and the empty classroom, and the interview are face-to-face, one-to-one interview. Okay, now let's move to literature review that supports my. Okay, I have read a lot of research. However, in this part, I would just mention the three most relevant to my project. The first one is salience of students' written feedback by peer revision in EFL writing class, written by Chulei in 2017. This research was conducted in a university in China. The author embedded a qualitative approach to inquire into the extent students incorporate peer feedbacks in producing writing, and also explore students' perceptions about peer feedback. And the second one is, do secondary L2 writer benefits from peer comments? This research was conducted in a secondary school in Hong Kong, so the students' level are similar to mine. Okay, and the method was employed were mixed method design with the use of semi-structured interview and survey. And the last one I want to mention is the peer feedback practice in EFL tertiary writing classes, written by Nguyễn Thị Hà in 2016. Okay, in this research, the author paid attention to the connection between peer feedback and students' metacognitions, and also she studied about the students' perception about peer feedback. Okay, the author employed a qualitative approach. Okay, these writings, these three articles show positive writing about peer feedback, and the findings really nurture my ambition of innovating peer feedback in teaching writing in my class. Okay, so about the advantages of my study, I hope that my research will be beneficial to both teachers and students. Okay, first for the students, it is hoped to have students to learn more actively and communicate socially, because activities in my projects require students to work in groups and they have to collaborate with each other. I also hope that it will help students to learn from their peers' mistakes and therefore raise their learning autonomy. Lastly, it will create a comfortable and friendly learning environment for students, so that can foster their self-reflection. Okay, about the teachers' benefits. It is hoped to reduce teachers' workload. It can save time for a teacher, okay, because some easier mistakes are highlighted by the students already. And if it is successful, it will help in reinforce the other teachers' belief in the effectiveness of peer feedback, so that peer feedback can become a useful and applicable method in not only my own context, but also other contexts. Okay, now let's move to cultural factors that may impact the success of my project. Firstly, my students have passive learning habits. They are not active, so this may restrain the students from collaborate in activity. Secondly, my students pay more attention to the test results, which focuses on grammar and vocabulary. My students admitted that they spend more time on learning vocabulary or grammar rather than writing, because writing is difficult to get score. Thirdly, the students are afraid of making mistakes and losing face. Well, some of my students are afraid of showing their writing in front of the class because they are scared of being judged by their classmates. Okay, and lastly, the teachers at my workplace are not really open-minded. They are unwilling to make changes, and also the students and the parents are familiar with the traditional methods of teaching writing. They may be skeptical about the success of my project. Okay, these problems may become a great barrier to my project. Okay, now let's move to the last part, the ethical issues. Okay, first of all, I need to get the approval from my authority at my school. So a cover letter will be sent to the vice principal to get the permission. Okay, Secondly, I will need the agreement from my students, so a consent form will be sent to them in Vietnamese, so they have to sign in the consent form. Also, my students are under 18, so I need to consent from the permission from their parents or legal guardians, so another consent form will be sent. Also, I will inform every stage in my research to students, protect my participants by not asking them to show their name. And lastly, the data collected will be stored in a private place so that no one can access. Okay, that is about my presentation. This is the references. Thank you for your listening.